game week, and we have a game in just a couple days, Rube.
I still don't love the Thursday games. As a fan, I love watching them. You got a Thursday night, you can sit back and watch a Thursday night game, but the stress it puts on these guys' bodies, I think you need a week to recover from an NFL football game. Considering all the injuries we have in the league, I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah, most players agree with you. They don't really love it, but it's what it is. You got to get ready for it. The Eagles will play on Thursday night against the Vikings. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Rube, you mentioned injuries across the league. The Eagles have had their fair share from week one, most notably Nikobe Dean.
Yeah, he goes on the IR today, so he'll miss at least 4 games. Hopefully no more than that. They seem optimistic he'll be back sooner than later, not a season-ending thing, Nick said. But look, he played really well. His first career start on Sunday up in New England. Really active, I thought, and was in the right place. And that's a big responsibility, having the green dot. And they'll miss him. And look, they would miss him anyway, but considering the state of the linebacker position with this team, which is bare bones, they're really, really going to miss him.
Yeah, I went back and watched the game, and I don't think I realized that he actually played pretty well in that post-game pod, because I think I just lumped in all the linebackers, and I thought linebacker play wasn't good because I was seeing Zach Cunningham really struggle in coverage, and Christian Ellis was up and down. I thought Nikobe was fine, and I thought he made his impact in the run game for being, a 220-pound linebacker. He runs downhill and he runs fast and he gets where he needs to be, and he's pretty good against the run. Now, you do wonder about...
Good form tackler.
He is, but you do wonder about a guy that's his size holding up in his career based on the way he plays, but I don't think the foot injury is really because of that, but it's something to keep in mind with him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I thought he defended the run really well. I was a little surprised, I have to say. He's not a guy. Look, the NFL is different than college, and I'm going to give him 225, Dave. I think
okay,
225, 220s. I mean, that's really low, but he might be. But I think he's 225-ish. I like the way he played. They'll miss him, certainly.
What are the Eagles list him as?
I think 225.
225. So you're buying the listed weight there?
Well, that's a good point. Maybe I shouldn't believe anything the Eagles tell us. So I'll go 220 or 230. He's not 230.
All right. So Nikobe on IR, he's out for at least 4 games. They're going to miss him. But in the interim, it sounds like it's going to be Zach Cunningham and Christian Ellis. Is that your read on it?
Well, there's not a lot of options. And they did promote Nicholas Morrow to the 53.
Which was a move they needed to do, by the way. If you want to keep playing this game with Covey and Siposs, you can only elevate 2 guys, so you couldn't elevate Christian Morrow.
Right. So I guess he's more of a temporary solution than Covey. So
he's Morrow of a.
So I'm just going to ignore that. But he's a guy. You look at these linebackers. Morrow was released 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago when Rodgers went down to 53. He was on the street. He was added to the practice squad a little later. I assume he was trying to find a job somewhere on a 53, which didn't happen. Zach Cunningham wasn't in the camp for 2 weeks. Rashaan Evans wasn't in the camp at all. I mean, you just look at these linebackers, and it's a precarious situation. And I wouldn't be shocked if I thought Zach Cunningham played bad enough that I wouldn't be surprised if he loses snaps in some situations to Nicholas Morrow. I just don't know what other options there are. Rashaan Evans, I mean, we talked to him, and he says he can get up to speed pretty quick, but he hasn't played football since February. He hasn't practiced since February. Today, his walkthrough was his first time, suiting up in 8 months. So to think he could come in this week, next week, maybe next week, specialty, but it's a longer week, but it's going to take him a while. He's got to learn the defense. So there's not a lot of options. You can't just, good linebackers don't grow on trees. This team's had bad linebackers even when they tried to have good linebackers, and now they're kind of desperate. So it's going to be something that we see teams attack. Kirk Cousins certainly knows the situation, and they're going to go after the middle of the field.
Yeah, they should. They have, after what we watched in week one, Zach Cunningham was a little bit of a liability in coverage, and I think Christian Ellis can give you a little bit against the run. I don't know if he's ideal in coverage either. Nick Morrow, I mean, there's a reason he didn't make the team. You know, he came into camp and we thought he's probably the front runner to be the starter next to Nikobe, and that didn't work out. They only kept 3 linebackers. So this was a position even entering the season where you thought, I don't know if this is good enough. And now they lose their best player at that spot. So
and the only other guy,
sketchy.
Only other guy on the practice squad is Ben Van Sumeren, who's an undrafted rookie who's just kind of learning the linebacker spot. He's certainly not ready, so there's just no options.
Yeah, it sounds like Christian Ellis will get the green dot. It was him and Reed Blankenship in the finish out week 1, and it was only Blankenship, I think, when they were in like 2-minute defense. So I would imagine it'll be mostly Christian Ellis with that green dot.
And that's what he said. He said it's interesting. He's such a low-key guy. When you talked to him and he was asked about having a green dot, he said, that's no big deal. I'll just communicate with the sideline. And the one interesting thing he said was you have to really be in shape to have the green dot because you're so gassed from the previous play. Now you have to like articulate and project your voice. This stuff you don't really think about.
It was something that Nikobe thought about. It was very interesting. He brought it up a few weeks ago that during his offseason, during his cardio work, he would practice yelling out play calls to make sure he had enough stamina in his voice to still be loud.
I mean, I don't think Nikobe ever really stops talking, so it doesn't surprise me. But Christian Ellis is a quiet guy. I think it's something he's going to have to get used to, and that's that communication from the sideline to Ellis to the other guy, the other linebackers and safeties and corners is huge, and it's something I think it's good that he got a taste of it on Sunday because he's going to be the guy. He's an interesting player, and I asked him. I mean, he was on the practice squad most of last year. He's been cut a bunch of times, undrafted guy. So he's gone from undrafted, released, practice squad, special teamer, situational linebacker to starting. And, I can't sit here and tell you he's going to be great. He's certainly smart. He's athletic. He's big. But he's got a lot to put together in addition to that cerebral part of the game with the green dot. So it's a lot to ask. And now he's got a guy next to him that he didn't know a month ago. So there's a lot of moving pieces here.
And we should mention there's a trickle down too, because he's been such a big key on special teams that either you have to limit his usage on special teams now, or you got to worry that he's going to be gassed in either defense or special teams by taking that full workload for a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't know how much I'd be surprised. I think this is a guy who really hasn't played defense, didn't play defense until Sunday, other than a few snaps and mop-up duty. I don't know if you want to load that up on him to start at off-ball linebacker at Mike, to have the green dot and then go out and play special teams.
It's a lot.
That's
especially
a lot.
Depending on the flow of the game. I mean, if the Eagles play 80 snaps again on defense, there's no way you can do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Isn't that crazy? It didn't feel like they played 80 snaps. They played 80 snaps on defense.
I thought it was 79.
It was officially 80.
78 according to my game book.
Or maybe they changed it.
It says official right on the top of my game book.
It was 80 right after the game. Maybe they altered it.
Well,
no, it's 80.
22 runs, 54 passes is 76. 2 sacks is 78.
I'm looking at the snap counts. 80 offensive snaps.
I have an official game book here, Dave. Are you saying the NFL's lying?
Yes.
Anyway, so let's just say 79. A lot of snaps.
Let's say 80 because that's what it says here.
Dave doesn't believe in compromise.
That's a ton, though. Either way, even if it is 79 and I'm wrong, which isn't true.
Let's see what NFL Jesus says. How many snaps did Nikobe play on special teams, by the way? I was wondering if he played
8.
any. He did play 8.
Yeah, which is obviously a much smaller percentage than he did last year.
It's a lot, though, for a starter. Jordan Davis played 9. Yeah, Christian Ellis played 23. That's going to come way down.
Yeah, and he was the leading snap getter on
special teams. Patrick Johnson, 23. So yeah, the other starters, not many starters played snaps at all. Justin Evans played 13. He played 90 total snaps. Anyway, snap counts are fascinating to me. I just, it used to be when we would take red eyes back, like I'd sit there on the red, I hit reload my game book till the snap counts came. They come up like early the next morning.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't have, they could have them after the game.
Yeah, they could.
I don't know why they don't do that. Anyway.
They're like PFF has them, they track them.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Where were we?
James Bradbury also probably not going to play in this game.
Can't imagine.
Has a concussion. He's in the protocol. So it's already a stretch for a guy to get ready the next week after suffering a concussion.
We've seen it.
We've seen it.
Not in a short week.
It's almost impossible on a short week. So
just physically to get through the phases of the protocol.
Aren't enough days.
There's not enough days. Yeah.
So it sounds like Josh Jobe is going to be the guy. Not sounds like, he's going to be the guy. He's going to start. We'll get to him a little bit later in depth in the matchups, but they like Josh Jobe.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about him. Physical corner, aggressive. He's got a little swagger. Reminds me a little of Jalen Mills. Not as a player, but just his. Mills was drafted. But he was a 7. Jobe is undrafted. They both have that chip on their shoulder that you see late round picks or undrafted guys have. I like the way he plays.
He definitely has a little chip.
Yeah.
We saw it on that special teams play where he tried to get up and get in the face of the opponent.
You just knew he was going to do it.
Yeah, Fletcher did too.
Yeah.
Good on Fletcher Cox for getting in his way. But I like Jobe. I thought he played really well this summer. He was turning heads. I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, there's no one else to be the backup outside corner. They brought in Greedy Williams. They drafted Keely Ringo. And they didn't, I don't think if all things were equal, they would hand this position to Josh Jobe.
Certainly.
I mean, they would have given it to the free agent. Or they would have given it to the draft pick. So he earned this spot. Now, with that said, there's a big difference between looking good in training camp and starting your first NFL game against, for all the things you can say about the Vikings, they can still toss the rock around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a challenge. The thing I liked about Jobe this summer was his consistency. You just didn't see a lot of breakdowns, and he would get beat. Certainly, you're going up against some pretty good receivers, but even when he got beat, like he usually had pretty good coverage. He was just you see him in the right place. He's not a guy that gambles a lot. I think he's just pretty sound. His technique is pretty sound. And
honestly, obviously Bradbury's a much better player, but he has some similarities, like play style to Bradbury.
Closer to Bradbury than Slay, certainly. Mm-hmm. Slay's more of like a Lolito Shepherd type, jumping routes, trying to get those picks. But I like Jobe, and it's going to be tough. Look, they got some really good weapons, obviously, more than just Jefferson. They have some good weapons, and we'll get to those. But you worry about the cumulative effect as well, because you're going to be out there in the back 7 with Reed Blankenship, who played great the other night, but this will be his 6th NFL start.
He's a little banged up too.
He's a little banged up. He's got ribs. He's on the injury report. He had a tough game physical. There was that one play where I think there was a penalty on it, but I think Ramondre Stevenson was coming at him, and then he kind of got blocked into Stevenson. He got trampled. He ended up making the tackle, but he got buried. He kind of got pushed into the guy. And and then you have Zach Cunningham and Christian L. I mean, this is a real patchwork back 7, other than Slay.
Justin Evans
back there.
Didn't play well. Justin Evans, I'm wondering how long the leash is going to be. I know Sean Desai said he played well. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was out of position in coverage a few times.
I mean, him and Cunningham just looked a little lost in coverage, and that's concerning.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to stick with those guys if they're not performing well. So I'm kind of
not like they have any guaranteed money.
Yeah, and not that they have options. They have options at safety. They don't have options at linebacker right now.
Well, I guess Morrow's the option.
I guess. I don't know if that's going to get you any better. I think the options at safety are more intriguing to me.
Sidney Brown,
but also, I mean, Edmonds
played a little bit. I didn't. Yeah, So somebody actually tweeted to me and asked if Sidney Jones was going to get a chance at safety. I was like, well, I think he's on the Bengals practice squad. I was like, I can't give you grief about it because I just did it on the podcast. But yeah, I'm really curious. I don't think he had any snaps on defense, right?
Sidney Brown?
Sidney Brown.
He did not.
He had no snaps on defense. I'd be okay with giving him a look-see at this point.
Yeah, I think Edmonds would be the next guy up.
Probably.
He played a little like linebacker snaps too. He's actually the guy who took out James Bradbury. It was a little friendly fire.
What did he play, about 10 snaps on defense?
Less than that. Oh, 10 exactly. Yeah.
I love when I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen much.
Doesn't happen. Thank you.
Especially on snap counts.
Yeah.
What did he play, about 20 snaps on special teams?
Are you looking at it?
I am now,
okay.
But I wasn't when I said that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't enough of a body of work to really make any judgments. I think they're going to be conservative with Sidney. I think you're right. I think it would be Edmonds if it was anybody. I'd probably feel better with Edmonds out there at this point.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what they do at safety, but the options just aren't great, and you still worry about the middle of the field.
Sean Considine's not walking through that door, Dave.
Neither is Kirk Coleman or Jaquan Jarrett or Randall Evans.
Somebody named Evans is.
That's true. So we'll see. Where's your worry level on those two positions in particular?
It's up there, and it's not just those two positions. It's really the whole back seven, honestly. Because anytime you start moving pieces around, the communication becomes an issue. The connection among everybody, and it's a whole new linebacker group, and it's half a new safety. It's really a whole new safety group. So. It's a concern, especially I don't think Kirk Cousins is a Hall of Famer, but he can spin it now. That's coach speak, right?
Yeah.
He can spin it now. He threw for 344 the other day, and
in a loss.
In a loss. I mean, that's what I mean. He's not. Look, They're dangerous though, just because they can put up some points. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win, but he's a dangerous guy to play. He can put up numbers.
All right, let's get into the matchups on the other side. Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
Teams have advanced guys who can go in and kind of prepare for the Thursday night game ahead of time.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I had to scramble to get my matchups done in time for this podcast.
You don't have an advanced guy?
I do not. I need one of those. But I have them ready. So I want to just run through them here and we'll kind of bounce this back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. Let's go.
So first thing, we'll start with the Vikings on defense, Eagles on offense. Eagles offense a little disjointed in week one. I expect a better performance from them in week two. I think you're working out some of the kinks of the operation. I thought Jalen looked rusty. Don't expect that again, but this is a defense that's going to heat you up a little bit with the blitz. And I thought the Eagles were a little susceptible to that in week one.
Yeah, I think just out of sorts, off kilter, whatever you want to say. There was really nothing on offense that operated the way it should have. I mean, they had a play here, a play there. They did enough to get the W, but the whole thing was just clunky, I guess. And maybe that's going to happen with a new coordinator. Maybe, look, you're also facing Bill Belichick. The weather wasn't good. So there was a lot conspiring against them. But I'm with you. I expect the offense to look sharper. They're going to be at home. The Vikings have a tough ask. They're on the road for a short week. It's harder than what the Eagles are doing, although the Eagles had to travel on Sunday night. But, yeah, I mean, the Vikings are going to come after them, and they got to show that they can handle it. Yeah,
the Brian Flores defense, we saw him in the years of Miami. He'll heat you up, and he'll bring some blitzes in that game against Tampa Bay in week one. I think it was like 55% of Baker Mayfield's dropbacks. They were blitzing him. So I I think they're going to try to do that against the Eagles. I don't know if the Eagles have a very good pass protecting running back anymore. Not that they did last year either, but they don't have a guy who's great.
Boston's probably their best, but
how much are you going to have him on the field?
How much are you going to have him on the field? I think Jalen, when Jalen's at his best, blitzing him is an opportunity for Jalen more than for the defense. When he's rolling, he's playing his game. You want people to blitz him because he's really accelerated his decision making. He's able to diagnose things. But the Jalen we saw Sunday just didn't look quite comfortable, or I don't even know what it was. I don't even know how to describe it. He just looked off.
Rusty
is fair. So he needs to be sharper, and his ability to see what the Vikings are doing and get rid of the ball quick and find the hot and move on, move the stick. So that's going to be the big challenge Thursday.
I do that so much. I'm so used to saying Sunday.
I didn't say Sunday. I said Thursday.
We're going to rewind that tape a little bit, run that back. You know, it's funny. A few years ago, this was the book on Jalen, was blitz him, confuse him. It's not that easy anymore.
It's not, but he's got to show. I mean, he didn't handle it well. What was he, 7 for 13 for 59 yards or something when he was blitzed Sunday? Yeah, he's got to make some big plays against the blitz because they're going to bring it. And if he doesn't show that he can make plays against it, they're going to. I mean, Flores is going to keep doing it.
I think the only team that blitzed more in week 1 was the Vikings opponent, that top Bulls defense.
Yeah.
We know he likes to bring some pressure.
He loves to blitz. That was a good win for him. He's a good coach.
I like Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
A little bit of that's a weird team because they're supposed to stink, but they might not stink.
Yeah, they'll be interesting.
That division wide open, so mess around and win that division.
Yeah. It's an interesting game in a couple of weeks, but I try to take them one game at a time.
All right, my next matchup is Lane Johnson against Danielle Hunter. Hunter's just, I think he's criminally underrated. He is so good. He's one of those guys where offensive tackles, they see he's on the schedule, they circle it.
Yeah, he's been good for a long time. And, he's long and powerful, and that's a deadly combination.
I remember a few years ago talking to Lane about Hunter, and he said the first time he got on his radar was Jason Peters was watching tape, and everyone's worried about the other guy, and then Jason Peters goes, no, who's this? This guy has something. And it was before Hunter kind of exploded. And yeah, right now he's one of the better pass rushers in the league. Really long and powerful, but he has good moves off of that power. Lane's been very good for a long time, but this is a tough matchup. And Lane didn't have his best performance in week 1.
He did not.
Keon White was pretty good. I think that's more about a rookie just impressing more than Lane struggling, but I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I was too. There was some pressure from that side, and Hunter lines up almost exclusively on that side. So, I mean, that's going to be a matchup to watch.
Yeah. They don't have Zadarius Smith anymore, so you don't got to worry about him on the other side, but Hunter is still just very, very good. All right, move on.
Yeah.
All right, the next one I have here is Dallas Goedert against the Vikings linebackers. And really, I'm putting this on here because we saw not the overcorrection, but the correction last year. And Sirianni's already compared Goedert week 1 this year to Devontae Smith week 1 last year. And we know Devontae didn't have a catch. And then the very first play of that next game, they targeted him. They got him the ball a bunch in that game, the next game after that. So I think we could see that with Dallas Goedert too.
Yeah. How much do you want to bet the first target of the game is going to be Goedert?
Yeah, even if it's not the first one, that first series, they're going to get him the ball.
Yeah, I bet he has at least 2 catches on the first drive.
That would not surprise me.
That might be for 2 and 3 yards, but they'll get him the ball. Just get him comfortable catching the ball. Yeah, and they need him. Look, it's not just about getting him targets. I mean, they need more than just Devontae and AJ to make plays.
Yeah. What I will say is I've always been impressed by Goedert that when he's not catching the football a ton, he's just always so still engaged in the game because his run blocking is really important to this team, and he doesn't take plays off. I give him credit because I think it would be easy for a guy who's not getting the ball thrown their way as a tight end to kind of sulk, but he's always been such a dual threat guy that he takes those blocking reps really seriously, and that still shows.
Yeah, I was watching his interview after the game, and he was like, he was asked about not catching any balls. He was like, man, that was a really fun game. I thought I blocked well. We won. I was out there having fun. I played hard. I think he really genuinely, maybe it's lip service, but I think he genuinely embraces every facet of that position.
He does. Look, I think he would admit to you too. Like, yeah, obviously wants to catch the football.
Yeah.
Like, no one doesn't want. We were talking to him today, and he said he's been getting some flack from fantasy football owners after a 0-catch game, and he's like, I think I lost some games for people this weekend. He's like, myself included.
Yeah.
He has a fantasy team, and he's the fantasy tight end on his team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even Dallas Goedert is a little upset at Dallas Goedert.
Wow, that's deep. But yeah, I mean, he's such a weapon. I mean, he averages like 11 or 12 yards a catch. You got to involve him.
All right, next one, Justin Jefferson. We've waited long enough to talk about him. He's really, really good, obviously. All-Pro, 1,800 yards last year. Got off to a good start again this year, 9 catches for 150. But Darius Slay locked him down last year.
He did. Yeah, he played great. It was one of Slay's best games. I think he really likes playing those top guys. Really takes it personally. And, I mean, he's so competitive. So sometimes you wish he brought the same – it's not like he doesn't he's not competitive, but I think he really tries to raise his level when he plays somebody like that.
Yeah, last year there were 6 targets with Jefferson on Slay, 1 catch for 7 yards. Slay caught the ball more than Jefferson on those targets. He had 2 picks and a pass breakup. He was excellent last year.
Yeah, I do think it's maybe the best game he's played since he got here.
Yeah. And he traveled last year from side to side. I would anticipate that continues again.
I mean, if you're traveling when you have Bradbury, you're definitely traveling when you have Job.
Yeah. But that leads us to the other option, or the other intriguing matchup here is Job against Jordan Addison, who, Addison's a rookie, but a first-round pick, had a pretty encouraging debut in week 1. That's not an easy matchup.
No, it's not. And this will be Addison's second start and Job's first start, but USC? Yeah. Addison. He's the guy that transferred, right? He played with
he was
Pickett.
better at Pitt.
Yeah, he was better at Pitt and transferred at when Pickett left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did he do? What did he do Sunday? 4 for 61 and a touchdown. Caught 4 of 6 targets. So that's a tough challenge for Joe, but I think I feel like he's gonna be okay. I do.
Okay.
He'll be okay.
I think they're going to target him quite a bit.
I would think so.
But it's also like I say that, but Slay was locking down Jefferson last year, and they still targeted him.
Yeah.
Like they're going to get him the ball. Or going to try to get him the ball. He's their best player.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, next one is I have Jalen Carter listed because he had such a fun debut, but it's really all of the interior tackles against the interior of that Vikings offensive line. Garrett Bradbury, banged up. He might not play in this game. And even if he does, we'll see how effective he is. And then Ed Ingram, the right guard, is really the weak spot of that line. So the Eagles got a nice matchup with their interior in week 1. I think they have another one this week.
I thought all the interior linemen played well.
All of them. Well, at least the top 4. The other guys didn't really get a ton of snaps.
No, I'm not counting guys who played 5 snaps. But I thought Milton played well. We talked about him in the locker room. Fletch was like turned the clock back. And then the 2 young guys from Georgia were both really, really good. I thought they might even get more sacks. I thought they might, Mac Jones got rid of the ball pretty quickly late in the game. And I think you saw the rotation really pay off because those guys were fresh. And they finally started getting really good pressure at the end of the game. But it's a Vikings O-line that you think they can really do some damage against.
Milton is so underrated.
He's a really good player.
I think I picked him as my X Factor, didn't I? When we did that.
Did.
Yeah. I really like
Christian Ellis, right?
Yeah, I think so. I really just like his game. He's going to get lost in the shuffle. And it's kind of a shame for him because he was a 3rd-round pick. It's not like he was some late-round guy. He's disruptive as a pass rusher. He's great against the run. He gives so much effort. He is such a high-effort player. He tracks everything down. He plays with quite an edge. Like, he's just really good.
Yeah, and I mean he didn't play as much as Davis or Carter, but he played close. He played like 9 fewer snaps maybe than Carter and a few fewer than Davis, but he's in that mix. I mean, he's a huge part of that rotation.
He played 33. Davis played 35.
Yeah.
Carter played 40.
And Fletch played 50.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so those are 4 really talented guys. And it's a perfect situation for Fletcher because
you know what I did find weird though?
Yeah.
When they put Street and Tui Pelotu out there, they were out there together.
Is that right?
Yeah. Kind of weird.
That is a little weird. I
don't know why.
I don't know why.
I guess you have I guess they see Street as like the 3 tech and Marlins.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird to me.
I would ask, but competitive advantage. We won't get an answer.
Probably right. Yeah, but those 4 guys were just excellent in week 1, and they're going to need to be good all year.
Well, that's one position I just don't worry about, I think.
Yeah, if there's one you don't have to worry about, I think that's probably it. Jordan Davis, too. I mean, everyone is talking up Jalen Carter, and they should because that was just, it was dynamic. But Jordan Davis was great in that game, too.
That was his best game.
Mm-hmm.
Who's most likely to go to the Pro Bowl out of that group? Say Carter or Fletch? Fletch has been a 6 of them, but I'm going to say Carter.
I mean, it's hard to say anyone but him after.
Who was the last Eagles rookie to go to a Pro Bowl? I think I know the answer.
I don't know.
See if StatHead has removed my ability to do that as well.
Who's your?
I believe it's Cody Parkey.
Oh, jeez. I was not thinking about special teams.
Well, we're not allowed in the hallway anymore where we see those year of player's career, first year. Let's see. They haven't had a lot of rookies make a Pro Bowl. Let's sometimes with the status filter, I open up the box, but I don't click yes. It was Cody Parkey.
How about 14. Last
position player? Would you believe Keith Jackson in 88?
Wow.
Caught 81 balls as a rookie. Charlie Young, tight end as well in 73. The last defensive.
No I in Charlie.
No I.
That always throws me off.
Yeah, because he's a team player. How about this? The last defensive rookie, if I did this search right, and Stat has been blown up. They had Travis Kelce playing 400 career games. Maxie Baughan was our last defensive player to go to a Pro Bowl as a rookie, and that was in the 60 championship season. I'm surprised Corey Simon didn't in 2000. But that's really interesting because I think he's got a shot. Yeah, Corey didn't go. Corey had 9.5 sacks as a rookie, as an interior lineman, and didn't go. I'll have to look at who did. He's only 3rd in defensive rookie. All right, anyway. Were you trying to prove me wrong there or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what you were doing.
No, I thought you were looking up a rookie that did.
I'm not looking up anything.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to stop talking.
the NFC Pro Bowl defensive tackles, Corey Simon's rookie year, Leroy Glover from the Saints, Warren Sapp. And how about that Luther Ellis?
Oh, yeah?
Luther Ellis, whose son is Christian Ellis. Anyway.
All right.
What's next on your agenda?
TJ Hawkinson comes to town. We talked about the linebackers and safeties a little bit. Hawkinson's really good. No, it was weird. No tight ends. Like we talked about Dallas Goedert, no tight ends across the league had a big week 1.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Kelce didn't play.
Yeah, but Hawkinson had a decent first game. And the Eagles struggled against Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki in week 1.
And those, yeah, and Hawkinson's better than those guys.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he was really good. He had like almost identical stats from his time in Detroit to his time in Minnesota last year. That's all. Any other matchups in this one that kind of intrigue you?
No. I mean, you covered it pretty good. I think to me the most intriguing one is Jalen versus that blitz. I mean, I think that's going to go a long way to deciding the game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. They're going to try to heat him up a little bit. I'm not worried about their offense.
Yeah, I'm not either. It was just weird to see Jalen so just uncomfortable, clunky. It seemed like there were times he wasn't awful. I mean, he didn't have any interceptions. He completed like almost 70% of his, but it was just, I was surprised how well, or how poorly, I should say, he did handle the blitz, because I think that really gives him some opportunities. I expect to see a different Jalen.
And it wasn't just on him in that game.
Absolutely.
I don't think their blitz pickup was great. I don't know if they have the personnel at running back to be great at that, but you got to figure it out.
Yeah, and it was. I think Brian Johnson's first game had a lot to do with it too, and just the offense. There was nothing unpredictable about the offense. I mean, it was basically Gainwell, AJ, and Devontae.
Yeah, the Gainwell stuff early was a lot. He was their offense.
Yeah,
early, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and their only answer, and it's a good answer, was get the ball to AJ Brown. Took them till the second half to get there. But maybe the rain played a role.
You can mix it up. Like, you can throw to Gainwell early, and then throw to AJ, and then run Gainwell, and then throw. It seemed like there was the Gainwell part of the game, and there was the AJ part of the game.
Yeah, I think the AJ part was like the correction.
Yeah,
it was.
No question.
We got to get the ball downfield a little bit here.
Yeah, and I mean, that one drive where AJ caught 3 balls was huge. That was huge.
Yeah. Did you watch that game last night?
I did.
That was rough. We're talking about the Jets-Bills game. I mean, this whole offseason has been about Aaron Rodgers in the last 4 plays.
Biggest story in the NFL, probably, this offseason. One of the greatest quarterbacks ever, changes teams after 17 years or whatever it is. It was surreal seeing it happen. And I'm going to have to do a one-eye story. 91 at Lambeau, Randall Cunningham's coming off, an MVP season. In 90, he had 30 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, ran for 942 yards. Eagles went to the playoffs. 91, everyone had that defense, great defense, greatest ever, fewest yards allowed in a 16-game season. And it was on the 9th snap. Bryce Paup came in low at Randall's knee. His left knee buckled, ACL, MCL, cartilage damage. He was out for the year, 9 snaps into the season. And man, that reminded me of it. The only difference, we knew immediately it was a torn ACL, torn MCL. We kind of knew last night.
Yeah, I think it was like everyone kind of knew. It was just very silent.
The one thing that I've never seen before or since, Randall, after the game, he's on crutches. There was picture the back seat of an old-time sedan, like a back seat that's not in a car. It's in a hallway. So in Lambeau Field, in the hallway outside the locker room, there's this back seat, and Randall comes out and sits on it and does interviews with the media, with the Philly media. I've never seen a player out for the year talk to the media after the game, and he did. He said it just felt like a dream. I thought it was a cheap shot by Bryce Paup. Paup, 2 years later, the Packers played the Eagles, and he apologized to Randall. But that's what it reminded me of. And look, I'm not the world's biggest Aaron Rodgers fan, but you hate to see that, as a fan of the game. And look, you give the kid credit for what he was able to do, and come in. And I mean, that place was like, you could hear a pin drop.
The kid being Zach Wilson.
Yeah. That's not an easy situation to come into. I mean, this guy took your job. It's not like you're getting first team reps, when, I don't know, I think if he didn't practice a day, but that's a tough situation to come into. Your team is in shock. The stands are all the fans there are in shock. And I mean, they won it on a punt return, but he made some big time throws, and he managed the game, and he played better than Josh Allen. I know that.
Yeah. Josh Allen was.
What's going on with him?
Hero syndrome.
He was putting it up for grabs.
Yeah.
A little Carson in him last night.
Well, speaking of Carson,
yeah.
I mean, has there ever been a quarterback in NFL history on more of a collision course to play for the New York Jets than Carson Wentz?
There's the Joe Douglas factor, obviously. So
it just seems so fitting.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're a Jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Greatest musical ever, Dave. West Side Story.
You know my thoughts on musicals.
West Side Story.
Why are we singing? Just say what you have to say and let's get on with our day.
That's fun-loving Dave Zangaro right there. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Douglas gives Carson Wentz a call.
Do you think having intimate knowledge of Carson Wentz makes it more or less likely?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Maybe less.
I don't know.
Maybe less. But then there's always the side of you that, look, Joe Douglas has seen Carson at his best. Maybe he feels like, look, talent-wise, you're not going to find a better guy on the street right now. So it's going to be a matter of if he feels like he's got the mental toughness to do this. And yeah,
the Jets have 4 more primetime games.
Do they really?
Yeah, they loaded them up. Everyone was excited. And you're going to see Zach Wilson on prime time 4 more times. I give him credit. They won the game. He wasn't good.
No, he wasn't good. I was trying to be nice. I said he managed the game well. But they got to do something.
It was a cool moment too at the end, seeing Xavier Gipson walk it off. I saw Deshaun Jackson tweeted about the punt return.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
What did he say? That's the way it's done, or something?
Yeah, when you're there, yeah.
Yeah, it's only the 3rd walk-off punt return in overtime. Deshaun's was in regulation.
And I know you're not a Hard Knocks guy, but he was one of the players that were really following.
Oh, really?
In Hard Knocks, undrafted, obviously, and had to fight his way on the team. And they did something cool this year on Hard. Well, I think it's cool. They did not show cuts. Joe Douglas and Robert Salas. We're not cutting guys on TV.
Okay.
But they did show a few of those fringe guys making it, and he was one of the ones where. And they brought him in, and it was. I'm repeating this for people who've seen it, but they basically said, the odds are stacked against you when you come here. So they're building him up, and then they said, but you're a Jet, you made the team. And Salah in that meeting said, you're going to do big things for us this year. Didn't wait long.
Salah looked like he was about to start crying when Aaron Rodgers was getting put on that card.
That was one of my biggest takeaways from Hard Knocks. I know it's not like a fully comprehensive view into a team, but it is like you get a lot of access, and it was so much Aaron Rodgers. It was like the defensive coordinator or defensive line coach showing video of Aaron Rodgers to his defensive guys, and this guy's our quarterback. And you just wonder, like you build up one guy for that long, and all of his teammates are like in awe of him, but you wonder like, what happens if he gets hurt and then it happens 4 plays in? It's tough to get over.
Yeah.
It's a shame. They have such a good defense. They have good pieces on offense.
Yeah. Can
you really just run Zach Wilson out there for the rest of the season?
As long as they keep winning, but I don't think they will. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a quarterback. Nick Foles?
He's available.
Who would you say, if you were Joe Douglas and those are your 2 options, who would you sign?
Do you mean Nick or Carson, or Nick or Zach Wilson?
Nick or Carson. Who would you sign? Yeah.
Carson.
Carson's been good more recent than Nick.
Yeah, neither of them have been good, but I'd probably say Carson.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably say Carson too. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Imagine if they bring them both in for tryouts, and Carson and Nick are together at the Jets facility in Florham Park with that big tree in the middle of the field, and they're working them both out. Yeah. If you're Carson, do you even say, I'm not going to work out, just sign me or don't sign?
Do you call Brady?
You got to call him.
Got to call him, right?
Sure. Tom Brady.
No, Brady Anderson.
Well, Chad Hutchinson out there. Well, Ken O'Brien.
It's early for a prediction, but you're leaning Eagles here?
Yeah, I'm going Eagles. I think they win it double digits. I'll probably go 10. I was pretty close, by the way. I had 27. I had 27-20. It was 25-20.
Yeah. So
I was off by 2 points. You were close. You had 27-17.
17, yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably pick something in the 30 to 20 range.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think they're just a better team.
Yeah.
And last year, I remember trying to get cute and find the loss, and I guessed wrong. I'm not going to do that this year. I'm just going to go with my gut and go with who I think the best team is.
Who's the last person in our prediction group to pick the Eagles to lose a game?
Oh, last year?
Yeah. I assume everyone picked them to win Sunday. Did anyone pick them to lose the Super Bowl? Did we all pick them to win?
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, because I know I haven't picked them to lose since I don't know if I picked them to lose last year. Maybe one of the games maybe at Dallas.
I tried to get cute, and I think I picked Tennessee.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How'd that go for you?
Didn't go great.
Didn't go well.
Yeah. I just thought Tennessee was a team last year. If they really muck it up, they have a good defense, maybe not ideal.
Yeah, they just didn't muck it up.
They didn't muck it up enough. All right. We good here?
Yeah, we're good.
I want to remind everyone, if you haven't done it yet, please rate and subscribe the podcast wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button and subscribe there as well. We'll have a podcast in the middle of the night after that Thursday night game. A lot of primetime games. We're going to get in that habit a little bit this year of doing middle of the night pods. So we appreciate if you watch it that night or if you listen to it in the morning, whatever you do, we appreciate it. That's it for Rube. I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.